So spiritual awakening can sound amazing, and there are many promises of how wonderful it will be, and sometimes it does feel really great, but other times it can throw one head over heels into a crisis. So if you're feeling a little bit like you're hitting a crisis right now, could be it's another level of your spiritual development, an initiation as it were. So in this video, I will outline 5 stages of spiritual growth. You'll be able to see where you might be and what are the problems that can arise. Okay, let's get into it. So stage 1, I'm calling awakening from cultural conditioning. Now, this is you if you have suddenly realized that most of the life that's put out there as this is what you should do, these are the goals you should have, these are the roles you should play, you suddenly realize it's all nonsense, most of it. So you start waking up from the dream of the system. We can also call it waking up from the matrix. You suddenly realize working for a boss for your whole life, getting married, having kids, maybe you love those, maybe not. That can throw you into a crisis. So this is the first big awakening that can happen. You're awakening from the cultural dream. What happens? You step outside. That itself will cause a lot of trouble for you because now you're leaving the tribe. So this is the beginning of the hero's journey. Something happens and you leave the tribe. That can be difficult because it might mean perhaps leaving a relationship, leaving a marriage, leaving a job, or just no longer hanging out with the same people you've always hung out with, changing political affiliations. You see, everything about moving from one tribe into, at first, which is a void, an emptiness. That's going to be huge. That can take quite a while to work through that stage. So if this might describe you, the medicine is to investigate a new way of being. So this can start a whole new journey of exploration. You do need a spiritual practice of some kind here because you're not getting meaning from the tribe anymore. So marriage, children, work, not going to give you as much meaning before. If those things are still, if you're having a crisis because of meaning crisis, the invitation is then to say, hey, this is a spiritual call to awaken. So I need to leave the tribe. It doesn't have to be like you move house or you have to break up. It just means inwardly you question and you turn away and you turn back to yourself and you start investigating what feels more true. So here's usually where we start to do a lot of spiritual work, reading books, doing courses, perhaps meeting new people who are like-minded. This is very good because you want to find a new tribe. You want to find a new belonging, some people who can affirm you in your new role. But first it's very difficult. You go through an empty phase. Also what you want to do here is therapy. If stuff starts coming up, well, first you might need therapy or coaching just to help you through the transition from leaving the tribe. Then what will start to come up is, my God, what is my values? What do I stand for? Trauma from the past might come up because now you're no longer running away from it. You no longer have meaning supplied to you from the outside. So all the stuff that's in will start coming out. So therapy and coaching here is very necessary. So this journey can carry on for quite a few years. So let's imagine someone, let's call her Sophie. She has left her job. She's had a spiritual awakening. She's set out to learn new things. She's learning yoga. She's doing qigong. She's doing bodywork therapy. She's doing psychotherapy, the whole thing. She's found new friends. She's doing juicing. She's thinking about becoming a vegan, or at least vegetarian. So it starts going quite well for her. She starts to begin to feel that she's really getting it. She might even think, well, I might actually teach some of this one day. So that feeling that you've started to get it, and this might be easy and nice and good, is almost a trigger for the next phase. So what comes up next is hitting the wall. The wall is where you realize all this work I'm doing, therapy and yoga and everything, it's solving some of my problems, but I'm still unhappy. And am I just reading more books or doing more therapy, or is it just more doing? And you might have a moment of stillness and silence and fall into that spaciousness where the mind can't grasp. And that might be a shock, because now suddenly you realize what's happened. You've built an identity for yourself over this time, from the first awakening, over this time, beautiful time of exploration, but the ego has still been there and the mind has still been there. So that first phase is very much still in the mind. The mind has just now got spiritual topics to think about, and it slightly becomes empowered. You have a new identity for yourself as someone who knows, or a spiritual teacher, or an explorer, or the one who does therapy, on a therapy journey. Okay. So imagine our character Sophie now hits this wall. It's a feeling of blankness. What now? A feeling of disappointment, because now I've just got these new friends and this new diet. I've been preaching it. Maybe I've even been on social media, making juices and beautiful pictures and how well I'm doing, and my coaching seems to be going well. But now I've hit this blank. Feels like another betrayal at first. So here's another moment in which you're going to be asked to leave a tribe. Before we get there, an important point to mention is that one of the huge pitfalls of stage 1 is conspiracy thinking. You've left the tribe. Now, searching for a new tribe, you go online. What do you find? A whole beautiful new tribe of people who think they know what's really going on if you just do your research. So the temptation can then be to find another enemy to focus on. And you fall into an us versus them game. This is huge, guys, and I said with compassion because you might be in it, but just checking yourself. Does a conspiracy with us and them, this hidden them or they, who's always doing something, is that not huge duality? So here you are the good one who knows, and there's the ignorant ones, the normies, who don't know. If only they'd wake up and do their research. So that is a trap, and it's a trap because it's deep into duality. So you're merely waking up into another dream. So we've hit the wall. What happens next? Well, that's stage 2 of the awakening, which I call awakening of the heart, also the awakening to presence. So you felt exhausted by the spiritual journey. Now you discover stillness, and at first that can be quite disconcerting, because who am I? I built this new identity for me as the spiritual seeker and the person who does therapy, and now I'm realizing that hasn't brought me what I really want. I'm still unhappy, and then I turn towards stillness. So why I call it the awakening of the heart is not because you're suddenly full of love. The heart is the seat of unknowing. So you're journeying from the mind to the heart. That first awakening, you realize now, is all about mind. I want to understand my psychology, how the universe works, all this esoteric stuff. It's very exciting. The mind has been in control. The ego has built up a new identity for itself. Now as you journey from the mind to the heart, you're letting go what you think you know, and you're having to negotiate this new terrain where you don't know what the next step is. The heart is very much presence, and it leads you to the next step. So what you want to do here is continue with therapy and coaching if you feel called to, but you might want to evaluate who you're doing it with. Does the therapist understand stillness? Well, I'll give you a very good example. I sometimes go to yoga, and in the classes there's 2 types of teachers I've noticed. The one, as we're doing the poses, they are describing what stillness is like, what peace is like. They're trying to give a lecture about yogic philosophy or something. And inside I'm a little bit screaming inside my head, because I know that if you just hold a pose and keep your attention inside, notice exactly what is happening, and then there's stillness around, silence, you very quickly feel the peace, and you fall into presence by itself. So the teacher is trying to describe the taste of honey and not letting you actually taste it. Then you get a different type of teacher who does know about the taste of honey and how to help people taste it. You be quiet, you do less. Get people into a pose, let them stay there. Silence arises, presence arises, then they taste it. So it can be as simple as you moving from the one type of teacher to the other. less speaking and doing, more stillness. And this second stage also I've noticed that this is where people begin to get attracted to Eckhart Tolle and understand his work. I have had the experience of lending Eckhart's books to people who have just started on the phase 1, stage 1. They might pick it up, but often they put it down. I've noticed that. And it's because the mind is not yet ready. The mind is still working and trying to understand. Eckhart doesn't really help you understand, but it creates a sense of peace. So if you're really into Eckhart, you probably are in that second stage at least, where you're curious about stillness. What happens next is the next initiation, which is a huge one. Stage 3, causal awakening, or your first taste of non-dual experience. So look at it this way. The first initiation took us out of third dimensional reality, or third density, where we just focused on ourselves and our ego and our roles and normal life. You had your awakening, you enter fourth density, which is the subtle body, your astral, your mental, higher mental. So you're interested in esoterics and all that stuff. Mind is also the higher mind. But now we get to this phase, which is after the gross level, subtle level, causal. The causal body is the body of unknowing, the body of ignorance, sometimes called. This is pure I am. It's the pure witness. This can be hugely unsettling, and I believe this stage 3, causal awakening, is one of the dark nights of the soul, in the true way St. John of the Cross described it. For the first time, you're hitting the first taste of non-duality, and even more your identity of self is torn away, because now you're just I am. You're not even that person who is doing meditation or yoga teacher or anything. You I am. If you come to that in meditation, it's quite nice and pleasant, but sometimes life or an experience, say on psychedelics, will throw you into that very deeply, and it can be very disconcerting. But once again, you're having to let go an identity. So all these initiations are critical identity breaks. You're leaving behind an old phase to a new one. And each of these, as they progress, go more and more into the heart, more and more into not knowing, more and more into non-duality. So you will know less. You will have less to talk about to other people. You will have less language to describe it. You will have fewer mentors to seek help from. So stage 3 is where you're probably going to go to satsang with non-dual teachers. Your meditation practice here is focused on I am, the witness. So any meditation practice that, not the journeys, the journey work, all that was stage 1 and 2, 3, or your journey through the astral. Once you hit causal, silence. Your rock to hold on to is I am. The I am presence. And you want to try and seek out also people or practices that can let you feel that physically. So like a yoga teacher or bodywork person who knows this level, who will work with very much stillness. Just creating a space in which to experience this stillness and to start to trust it and to start to realize that this is an intelligence itself. The I am is intelligence itself, and it will work in your life if you let it. It is also the first of that the unmanifest layer that you encounter. Now the unmanifest comes into form. The formless flows into form when you connect with this I am. It takes a long time to trust it. Here, if you still have a day job, and things like even spiritual jobs will start to feel boring. You might feel like it's tasteless. It doesn't feel like anything anymore. That's one of the marks of the causal awakening. Everything loses its taste. Well, it's called a dark night, because even your ideas of God or divinity disappeared. Nullified. Just you, His presence. That's very hard to grasp. You can't talk about it with anybody, most people in your life, even in the spiritual. I've had that experience, having a huge cataclysmic almost falling into these levels, and then trying to seek advice from spiritual teachers. A lot of them haven't even been there. Ordinary people might be going there. They don't know what to make of it. So that was stage 3, going through the causal, entry into the causal I am. You'll have a nice long journey there. Then, of course, there'll be another big break. This one is another dark night of the soul, which we can call stage 4, collapse of meaning and identity, dark night, identity death. This is entry into the non-dual layer. I didn't really explain this before, but we have 4 bodies. Gross, it's the physical body. Subtle is your energy body, astral body. Causal is the body of unknowing, just is. It's the I am, it's the witness. Non-dual, subject-object, collapse, and even beyond. There's another stage. So here you're going fully into non-dual, and it can be very disconcerting because subject-object, the I who witnesses, suddenly is not there. Now, if you go into it easily over time, it can be quite gentle. But sometimes people are thrown into it, and suddenly the I has disappeared, and you don't know how to take action. You start to doubt, well, who's even thinking? Who's taking action? Who would actually? Does free will even exist? There'll be a lot of turmoil at this level, which then you will start to digest, and then it will start to settle. But the work now is to really figure out, but not mentally, to feel into free will, action. Who am I? Who takes action? Can I just be? Going deep into being. This will be difficult because a lot of your favorite things will start to disappear here. I've had beautiful quests and passions that have followed intensely throughout my life, and they sometimes just dry up, and then one has to grieve those things. Even the ones you thought were spiritual, even the ones that you thought were of benefit to the world. Maybe they were subtly building an ego, a sense of self, anything that is identity. And then it's really the discipline here is to let go of outcomes. Like really, if one person sees this, I don't know. But that can be quite difficult because a lot of our work still, we need to earn income, we need to pay the rent, all these things. But your spirit doesn't care about that stuff. The awakenings don't care about those nice things. They happen, and you might suddenly lose all meaning. And you might lose sense of that is the future in which there can be a benefit. Yes, you let that go. Everything is now. So now you fall right into the now. Now you kind of get Eckhart and others. Now, this is all there is. This is all there is. There's no future in which this has an outcome. There'll be different things happen, but I can't join this video to an outcome. So why do I do it? Because in this moment, it feels right. I feel good making it. And that has to be enough reason. So you start living from that, what feels right in this moment, and can I trust that more? While still caring about my outer world, my family, whatever I need to take care of. It's difficult. Very, very challenging. That's why these spiritual awakenings, they cause trouble in your life. They really do. You wonder if you should just go back to the tribe. But once you've left the tribe, you can't go back, and they won't take you back. So then what happens next? A natural progression comes in, things quieten down, and you begin to feel more comfortable. You're in the flow. The silence is there. So we'll call that stage 5, integration and natural functioning, spontaneous living. There's not really a trigger for this. It's more like you've really integrated everything. You start realizing that everything is just happening. I can let go more and more. Then in our hero's journey, now you might return to the tribe. So here's where you might really be open to a genuine teaching, but it comes through you. Or you might just be quiet, still, hold the frequency. At this stage, you cannot, it's not like before where you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to start the website, I'm going to offer this coaching product, this is my pricing, this is the core. Forget it. If you do those, it'll be a separate thing. But this part of you that was getting stage 5 integration, let go all agendas. Now you're just sitting, okay, what wants to happen? Might just carry on sitting on the beach or wherever, walking. Might earn very little, but you'll be okay with that because you're in touch with the gold, which is the I am. and then non-dual, which is I. I. Okay, so those are our 5 steps, at least. Now, something else to remember is that they don't always occur in sequence. They can really be jumbled up. So if you're sitting here thinking a bit confused about where you might be, well, there could be several things going on at the same time. Certainly, like a non-dual experience can happen to anybody. They'll probably interpret that as an angel or a UFO or something, because they won't have the space, the language for it. But these high levels impinge upon your lower life a lot, and you can start to recognize what they are. And then some of them will be breakthroughs, where you actually break through to that level. All of it requires great courage. That's why I say it's like a hero's journey. You've got to be aware of who your friends and mentors and tricksters. Let's mention this. Tricksters, another one. Trickster in a hero's journey is somebody who could be both a friend or not friend, who might help you or lead you astray. A common trickster on the path, especially in stage 1, is culty-like people. And it doesn't have to be a big cult. It can be a small cult of just one teacher, one little local teacher. But you'll see they start to demand more, and you'll start to project onto their character some sort of golden hue and give them powers. And they will ask for those powers. So they'll say simple things like, you're obviously not committed enough. Maybe you should pay the $1,000 for my next course to really show your commitment. Little tricks like that. So they're being tricky. Do you fall for it? Maybe it is good. How do you know? But once you leave the tribe, we can be quite innocent. Spiritual. I'm going to learn crystal balls and tarot and all this. Lovely. It's beautiful. Lovely feeling. But there's a whole tribe of wolves, people out there waiting to make money off you. So do be aware of the tricksters and sometimes the antagonists. Antagonists will be really big people who oppose you. Actually, often antagonists are people from your life, your ordinary life, or life itself. Suddenly you lose your money. It becomes hard to have a spiritual practice. That's an antagonistic situation. A spouse, perhaps, can be an antagonist. But do watch out for conspiracies and B, cults, even on a very small level, where you feel that you're giving away more, and that subtly they're sucking energy. So let's end it there, but do have courage with this, and do know, that's why I made this video. I thought, I've just been through another little initiation or deepening, and it's felt really tough. Let me share some insights on this, that it does get tough. You can really feel like you want to exit the planet at some stage. But then your thing is to go deeper into yourself. I am here, I am presence. Trust more and more in presence. In the now. Even if you think you're going crazy, hang in there and put out a message for mentors and books and things that will help you. Hope maybe this video will be one of them. Okay, so if you do like this work, please like and subscribe the channel. I will be doing more. And please, I'll be very interested in your comments on the video and on your stages of the journey, what you've experienced and anything that will be helpful for others in their journey. Okay.